So this is the first video in my series on my hyperfixations. If you haven't seen my intro video, go watch that to get the general idea of what hyperfixations are and what these videos are going to be. In 2016, Nickelodeon premiered The Loud House, a show about an 11-year-old boy named Lincoln with 10 sisters. Almost immediately after it premiered, people were calling it the show that would save Nickelodeon. But to be fair, it shouldn't be that hard to be the best show on Nickelodeon. Out of the three main children's networks, Nickelodeon is easily the most garbage. There hasn't been a good show on Nickelodeon since Avatar ended. Lincoln Loud has 10 sisters, 5 older and 5 younger. They are as follows: Lori Loud, generic teenager; Lenny Loud, kind-hearted fool; Luna Loud, rock star; Luann Loud, aspiring comedian; Lynn Loud Jr., sports girl; Lucy Loud, goth girl; Lana Loud, animal lover; Lola Loud, bratty princess; Lisa Loud, nerd; and Lily Loud, the baby. So why did this topic take over my brain? There really is no why, but I can tell you when. So I was at a hotel, it was like 6 in the afternoon, and I was very tired. So instead of doing the rational thing and sleeping, I turned on the TV. Nickelodeon was on, and I was way too tired to change it, so I just watched it. Luckily, an episode had just started. It was Undie Pressure.
You may have outlasted those amateurs, but now you've got to deal with a real professional.
It's not like I'd never heard of this show before. One of my friends watched it a few years ago and said it was good. I knew that one of the characters was very similar to Stevie from Malcolm in the Middle and Remy from Big City Greens. That's about as far as my Loud House knowledge went at the time, just the basic premise and Clyde. It's really weird to imagine my knowledge of the topic before and after becoming hyperfixated on it. Like now, I probably know everything about the show, can even recite some few episodes, and just a few weeks ago, I didn't even know the names of any of the characters. TV shows are probably my favorite of the 3 categories listed in my intro video, because especially with shows like The Loud House, there are quite a few episodes to watch, so the focus lasts longer than like a week. For example, The Discovery was on May 27th. It's the middle of June. That's almost a month focused on this, and I'm not significantly losing interest in it like I would something else. And since it's not on any streaming services other than Paramount Plus, I have to watch episodes out of order as they come on Nickelodeon. Okay, so my favorite character is easily Lana, the 8th Loud sister. I was pretty surprised to find out that basically everybody hates her as a character. Maybe it's just because quite a few of the episodes I've seen revolved around her, but as a fellow animal lover, it's nice to see her and her many pets. My least favorite character is Lynn. Every action from her is either obnoxious or just plain rude. I also don't understand why she's a fan favorite. Even though she's the worst character in the show, the writers still managed to redeem her in episodes like Good Sports and no others. Although she's a character that can be unbearable at times, she spends most of the show in the background, so it's fine. My favorite episode is probably the one after Good Sports called Jerry Antics. In this episode, Lisa realizes that her grandfather won't be around by the time she grows old, so she attempts to find various ways to extend his life. You'd probably expect Lisa to stick to one plan, but when she sees that something doesn't work, she takes Pop Pop's limitations into account and adjusts her methods. By the end of the episode, she realizes that there's no point in extending Pop Pop's life if you won't be able to enjoy it. This episode is so freaking adorable. Lisa was never really a character I cared about, but many of the episodes focused around her are the most wholesome in the show. Episodes like Making the Grade and The Mad Scientist are also probably in my top 10. And no, Robot Sitcom doesn't count as an episode, even though it's one of the funniest things I've seen, and I can't get enough of sitcom parodies. Also, go watch Too Many Cooks, it's one of the best things ever created. My least favorite episode is easily One of the Boys. Gender swap episodes are rarely ever that great. The only one I can think of that isn't terrible is that one Johnny Bravo episode, but most are just cheap ways to get people to watch your show when you're losing viewers. Which is really odd because this episode was released when the Loud House was on the rise. It follows the adventures of Lincoln, who takes a trip to an alternate dimension where his sisters are actually brothers. Eventually, after learning how gross they are, he leaves the dimension and enjoys life with his sisters. Doesn't sound that bad, right? But the entire episode just feels like a way to say how gross and bad men are. Lincoln's sisters have complex personalities, but when he goes to the boy dimension, they're all just variations of Lynn with a tiny bit of their defining traits. Lola would never wear one of Lincoln's polos. Why would a male version of the same character do so? They say 1 or 2 lines of dialogue that hint at separate personalities, only to do the exact same thing throughout the rest of the episode. Even the male version of Lily is violent. It just feels like a way of saying that guys don't have personalities, which doesn't make sense because Lincoln is also a very complex character. A lot of the other episodes that people hate, like Brawl in the Family or No Such Luck, aren't even that bad. Other than episodes like One of the Boys, The Loud House is a great show with a lot of heart. Despite being on one of the worst networks on television, this show is one of the funniest, most clever slice of life shows I've ever seen. I'm really excited for the movie coming out this summer, and yeah, The Loud House is just really good. A plumber's job is never done, especially in this house. I've been dubbed the number one to get the number twos to go down. But when life throws me a storm, I still sing along to the bang bang of those pipes. It's my kind of song.